The most crucial call that you'll ever see. We get no explanation. And I guess we just have to be okay with that. From the 6. That is juggled, caught, reaching ahead. Touchdown for Shaw. Trey Thorpe got it and reaches ahead, and that time we know it's good.
Welcome to the D2 football show on HBCU game day. I'm Stephen J. Gaither. I'm joined by Chris Ferguson, and as you can tell, it's mid-October. It's the middle of spooky season, and a lot of spooky things, and a lot of scary things are going on right now. Yeah. Every Saturday is something. Chris, man. First off, how are you doing? How's everything going for you in your world?
Good. Happy to be here. Famous last words, though. Something's out there. It's creeping.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, look, we are in the middle of, we're actually on the back end now officially of the D2 football season. So guys, please go ahead and make sure that you like the video, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And we got so much to talk about from last week, and we'll look forward to this week. We are in the middle of not only spooky season, but also homecoming season, and the pretenders getting exposed from the contenders. And some people are taking some visits to the graveyard, but we'll get to that. But let's go ahead and get started. So last week we had a couple of big games that we were looking at, but let's start with let's just go straight into B to A, shall we? All right, there was a lot of B to A going on in the SIAC last week. Albany State. I think we called this maybe as a potential win last week. I can't remember, but Albany State put those paws on Clark Atlanta. And Clark Atlanta didn't stand a ghost of a chance, as it was 32-7 for Albany State. Chris, thoughts on this game? Clark Atlanta last year, they avoided the rat poison, but I think that rat poison was slow working.
Yeah, they got hoofed by the Golden Rams. It's tough when you are really dependent on the offense, and the offense is not producing, because Clark has been a defense is optional kind of team over the last 2 years. But Albany is not even starting, or like Isaiah Noel's not playing right now, and they still had 2 running backs that rushed for over 100 yards a game, 100 yards in this game, I should say. You go convert more than 50% of your third downs, 6 for 6 in the red zone. You get up 2 scores early. It's hard to come back from that. That's a gut punch. And Clark is just not the same team that we knew last year, and it's showing. They're just going through some growing pains right now. So, it's tough right now in Atlanta.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it sure is. Again, you guys make sure that you check out the SIAC show. I think they're calling it the SIAC Sit Down with Sly and Jamie. They aired just a little bit earlier. So here's another one. This was a certified B to A. Now, this is a team earlier in the year. Edward Waters started off by knocking off Virginia Union, and they were beating their chest about how they should be nationally ranked. Well, Saturday they just got beat. Chad Elsie Jr. had he scared the EWU defense with 3 touchdowns in that game. Any thoughts on that one? And should Kentucky State be ranked?
Well, I think you still got to put maybe Albany ahead of them, and we're starting to see Benedict starting to get some recognition too in the national polls. But they're certainly right there, right with them. They have this 2 quarterback deal with Denham Johnson and Torrance Bardell, and they make it work. And this time it was John McCall who was catching all those yards. He had 152 yards receiving and a touchdown. So I mean, they finding ways and getting a lot of people involved. It's a very solid team. I tell you though, Edward Waters, we need to talk for a second because I like looking at the national stats, and there's one stat that you don't want to be involved in as heavy as you are in, which is penalties per game, penalty yards. Edward Waters dead last in Division II in penalties and penalty yardage, 81 penalties, 727 yards of penalties on the season. They went 9 for 81 in this game. And that's just not gonna cut it, man. That's hard against a good team. If you're not clicking on all cylinders and you got that to deal with, that's brutal. And that's ugly.
Yeah, we need some scary music for that. That's pretty nasty. All right. Speaking of scary, down in Cumberland,
yellow flags.
down in Cumberland County. I'm sorry, I just had to let out an evil laugh. I thought that was pretty good. All right, so Fayetteville State took on Livingstone. We said, hey, this is Livingstone's chance to show us whether or not they are a contender or pretender. Looks like they're on that pretender list right now. The Broncos bucked all over the Blue Bears, 38-14, landing them in the B to A category, Chris. And they were doing some funky stuff. We'll roll that. We'll roll that clip now, Kobe, with the Fayetteville State formation that we got there going. So, what do you think about this
alignment here as they stack 3 players left, motion them off to the right. Caden Davis in the backfield.
Formation
peels off the right side, pass wide open awesome. And caught.
They call
Bronco touchdown.
And again, the offense responded.
It's a formation that like other
second and goal, and the Broncos switch up
before,
their personnel. They bring Tavian Cox out there.
Something that Kevin McGork, the offensive coordinator, brought to the Broncos, and they use like 3 defensive players in the back for blockers, and Caden Davis, that big 6'4", 250 quarterback, turn tight end, turn running back. They use him to lead, to run that formation, and they could do a lot of things with it. We used to seeing them run with it. This time they actually passed it, and to get into the end zone. Fun fact about Fayetteville State in this game, they had 3 quarterbacks. So I'm going to count Caden Davis as quarterback here. 3 quarterbacks that passed for a touchdown in this game. So that just shows you how the Broncos have certainly caught their stride. And if you're Livingstone, man, just like a horror movie, your offense went missing. But, you're not the only one. Don't worry about that. It just wasn't the greatest showing. And Fayetteville State, 7 sacks. 7 sacks in this game.
Got sacks on sacks on sacks. All right. So that was the B to A category. Now let's get over to almost doesn't count. A lot of folks in this category. Let's start off with Central State. They just can't get right. 31-26 loss to Morehouse, who suddenly has 2 wins in a row. Ooh, now this is how you know it's getting scary out there. 2 wins for Morehouse before November, and they're back-to-back spooky hours. And also in the SIC, we got Benedict. They had a little bit of a scare themselves from Fort Valley State, who was missing some players, but they gave it a fight for sure. But ultimately, Benedict gets a 14-7 win. And then we also had Savannah State with a 23-20 win over Allen. And Darian, I don't want to say his name wrong because he might tackle me. He tackled everything that was moving on Saturday. 23 tackles.
Wow.
And including the game-sealing overtime. Game-sealing tackle, I'm told as well. So, yeah, Chris, your thoughts on the almost doesn't count folks over in the SIC?
I mean, I think you summed the Morehouse thing up pretty well. I was listening to Sly and Jamie talk earlier, and they were just like, man, the fact that Morehouse could actually be set up for 4 wins in a row is like remarkable from where they were when they first started the season. So, I mean, that in itself is pretty awesome and really stands out to me.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll talk about the CIAA next. All right, let's start off with another team that has 2 wins in a row. You got to see this one coming, but hey, Bluefield State, 2 wins in a row. They are suddenly, Chris, they are 2-2 in the CIAA.
I think that's right. I think that's
they
right.
Lost to Smith, and I don't know who else they played, but they did win 1 crossover. Yeah, so they're 2-2. Sorry, wait a minute, they're in the North, so they're 2-1 actually. Or they can. Oh, we're not gonna say that, but let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. But hey, it was Lincoln. Hey, everybody looks good against Lincoln. WSSU even won a time of possession battle against Lincoln, so that tells you where they are right here. All right. Then we got Virginia State and Bowie State. These two, they're not really rivals, but Bowie State doesn't really have a rival. But they've had some good games over the years. So we might have found a rival for them, but we'll get to that in a second. But Virginia State and Bowie State always seems to be a pretty good game when they get together, other than those couple years where they blew each other out. This year was a 28-21 win for VSU, who gets back in the winning column after a rough go against the CIAA South.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't without its drama, though. I mean, VSU is a first half team, and so they just kind of start sputtering after going up. I think it was like 21-7 at the half. And Bowie State, they just allowed Bowie to kind of inch back in there. And man, like, oh gosh, it actually came down to something like a goal line stand on fourth down for VSU to escape with that win. So, the score was a little bit closer than you would have certainly liked if you're Virginia State. They got to figure out how to close teams out.
Well, I mean, Virginia State should be happy. I mean, they've been on the winning streak. They have definitely been one of the contenders for most disappointing in the CIAA, but we'll get there. But now they get to play the North teams, so they'll look better. All right, and then lastly, you saw the end result of it. WSSU. After Curtis Allen and the crew held the ball for 41 minutes the previous week, WSSU said, "Ha, we can do better than that." Shaw won this game after trailing 13-0 early in the first half. WSSU was averaging like a bajillion yards per run, and still and yet Shaw comes away with a 20-13 win. Some of the statistics are, they are just they're just sobering, Chris. You got the 40. I mean, you start with the 43 minutes of time of possession, ungodly amounts. He will be at homecoming this week, Jamie. Norfolk State is on bye, so he'll be at homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we are, So, and that's not even maybe the most incredible stat. The most incredible stat to me, Chris, and I know you talked to Shaw's head coach about this, was the fact that they converted on 7 of 9 fourth down attempts.
Mm-hmm. It's disgusting. If you're a Ram fan, it's terrible. I mean, what kind of defense is that?
Play the coach, Kobe. Play the Shaw coach.
Please.
Guys stepping up, the confidence levels getting higher. but we kind of know what we had to do on both sides of the ball to stay in football games and win football games. And tell a story about a Diggs. He told me Coach Winston-Salem had said I couldn't walk on with it. And so he had kind of chipped on his shoulder going to the game. But like I said, they've been steady, getting better each and every week. Learning the playbook during camp. Just continually trying to get extra reps after practice, during practice, and different things during practice, trying to get better. But their confidence level is very high, and they know they can compete at this level, and they just want to show what they can do.
All right, Kobe, it got the end of it. Let's play when he talked about the 43 minutes of possession.
I can't remember one. Like I said, I'm more of an up-tempo kind of let's go get after it and score. But that's kind of what our game plan was, and kind of using some of those third downs as second downs, just kind of get the fourth and manageable. And we were able to do that. And the guys understood the game plan going in, understanding that, hey, this third down may be maybe 3rd and 11, but we're going to run the ball and try to get to 4th and 5, 4th and 6. And then the guys just make plays. Like I said, one of those after we were going to go for a field goal in the red zone was 4th and 13 or something like that. And Marsh came to the sideline and said, Coach, man, let's go for it. I said, let's go for it, Marsh. And he wound up having a big run and scoring a touchdown on that. So, like I said, the young guys stepping up, the confidence level's getting higher. But we kind of know what we had to do on both sides of the ball to stay in football games and win football games and tell a story.
All right, Chris. Anything else you want to add there?
What is there to really say? Yeah, no championship. Championship or bust, right? I mean, busted. Like 22 in blackjack, busted. Pumpkin smashed.
Like Mr. Biggs busted.
Right. I mean,
like JJ Walker's lip busted.
Yeah. I just think that when you look at a game like this where there's a lot of big talk, we can rebound from what happened at VUU. VUU stole their soul, man. VUU broke Winston. It's awful. I don't know. 7-9 on 4th down. I don't really know what to really say, except that they played that game to a T. Kudos to Shaw's coaching staff, to adjust. Because Winston's had issues with stopping the run. So what do you really say? Except, we trying to salvage a season. Can they even get to 500? They got to play Fayetteville State. They got to play Johnson C. Smith. They got to play Livingstone. Livingstone got a better conference record than they do. It's homecoming. You might as well just start. It's just homecoming at this point.
All right, let's roll over to something much happier. Let's see. Yeah. All right. We will go over to our standout performers, but this week, because it's scary season, they'll be called the Monsters of the Week. All right. No, we became food. No, you know what, Jason? Just because you need us to be JCSU, we're not. No. No, we're not. We're not. They're just gonna hold the ball against us for like 48 minutes, and then we'll go from there. All right.
We've on this broadcast longer than Winston held the ball in this game.
All right, man. It just hurts to even hear you say that, man. Those are 3 teams that we could lose to for the next 20 years and still own the season series, and they are, it's straight nasty. All right, a change is gonna come. All right, Curtis Allen decided to be merely mortal this week and go for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns, still terrorizing defenses nationwide. We got Brian Coots of Bluefield State, 308 yards, 4 touchdowns. and he carved up Lincoln secondary like a pumpkin. And look, man, I mean, we're giving him a hard time. The WSSU defense was out there for a long time, and Jamison Austin made the most of it. 16 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. So he definitely did his part. Anybody else I missed, or any other offensive guys that you want to kind of highlight?
It's not very often that we talk about Bluefield in the positive light, but I do want to mention that Brandon Wiley was the recipient of all 4 of those touchdown passes from Kuntz. 128 yards receiving. They actually had 2 receivers that went over 100 yards. Julian Crawley, who was the transfer wide receiver from Winston, had 100 yards receiving in that game. So, I mean, it's definitely big kudos to them and what they were able to do in that game.
Yeah, we'll look over at our SIAC monsters. We had Jackson Williams from Benedict, 2 touchdowns in 2 ways, an 88-yard kickoff return to jumpstart the game. And we talked about Bell already, 23 tackles. That was pretty high up there. And then we had Brinley Vendiver from Miles, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Miles finally exercised those demons and picked up a dub. Any thoughts there?
No, not a whole lot. I kind of mentioned, McCall earlier because it seems like Kentucky State, they have a couple of wide receivers that can break open for big games, and it was kind of his turn. And then Chad, you mentioned Chad Elsie too. So, there's a lot of big performers over there. And so, I mean, it's, the SIAC is looking really, really interesting, going into this week.
Yeah, man, for sure. And then we'll get over to speaking of things that go bump in the night. A few coaches might be hearing footsteps as well. It's time we have this type of conversation. Tuskegee and Winston-Salem State started this season out at the Red Tails Classic. Tuskegee pulled out a 2017 win over WSSU. And that was a high point of Tuskegee's season because since then it's been all downhill. Aaron James there, I think this is his 3rd season as the head football coach. He is at the winningest HBCU, period. I'm hearing from people that his seat is very hot. Ooh, any thoughts there?
Well, it's always a shame when you start dealing with a bunch of injuries and they start piling up, and that's kind of what he's faced with. Raekwon Beal, I believe, is out with injury, and they have some other key players out too. It's that's a depth issue. If you can't sustain success beyond that first group of guys, you don't have the depth. I think there's some questions as to whether resources are being squandered or the resources are enough to keep up with the top of the conference. So not knowing, I don't know how many scholarships Tuskegee has and what their budgets look like, but I think before they make that move, they also need to think about, like, do you have the resources to do what you need to do? Oh gosh, I know we could talk about somebody else and talk about haunted by expectations. Go ahead, Steven.
Well, we'll just go ahead and talk about it. I said it on Saturday as soon as the results of the game were over with. I put out a tweet out there. I said, call Torrey Woodbury, call Carlos Fields, hell, call the real Ghostbusters. But it's time to start over at Winston-Salem State University. And, this is season 5 for Robert Massey over at Winston-Salem State, minus that COVID year. The first 2 were interim. No, this is actually season 6. This is season 6, yes. Only 1 win a season. And then this year, they might get a wing season, but that's just not going to work at Winston-Salem State. Since 1975, there are 12 CIAA championships, I think 19 Southern Division titles. Every coach has won at least 2 championships at Winston-Salem State University. And it's obviously a new day in college football. But his contract is coming to an end. I just don't see any way that you can legislate giving that another chance. WSSU, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. The morale has dipped. There was some excitement last year, early on when they almost beat A&T, but that ship has sailed. So there should be no shortage of contestants there. Your thoughts, Chris? And I got to the press conference after I said that, but hey, I said what I needed to say. So yeah. and we know you talk about scholarships. We know WSSU has actually invested more into their scholarships. I think 32 or 33 is what was reported earlier. So and I heard about a Shaw team who started a whole bunch of walk-ons and freshmen, and they were able to get the win. So
yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that point. I mean, yeah, when you look at Fabian Diggs, who they were talking about, he's a walk-on freshman. Michael Joe, the linebacker for Shaw, he's a freshman. I mean, Alexander Marsh, the quarterback, freshman. I mean, all these freshmen came on for Shaw, and they found a way to do some incredible things. And so, if you're Winston-Salem State at this point, you're just kind of wondering, like, man, like, do you gonna ride out the season and you're gonna let them go, or are you gonna risk, potentially losing the faith of a lot of fans going forward? I mean, I don't know what you really do here, but yeah, something has to change, because you put in a lot of resources into the program, and these are games that they should have won, and they didn't. It's just not great overall. Sorry, it's just not. It's not gonna cut it. So yeah, you talk about haunted by expectations. I mean, the expectations are definitely not low, and it's just not a great feeling whatsoever. The offense couldn't do anything. I put out there, if they lost that game to Shaw, somebody had to walk home. Or
get picked up by former Chancellor Elwood Robinson.
Well, that too, because I just feel like the color purple meme, all you've done to me. That's how I feel right now with the whole, how Bullware left, and now, Massey's in that role, and it's just not really worked out. So it's just time to let it go and start over and clean house. It's my opinion on it. But hey, I don't make the decisions. I just get to be a pundit.
No, Chris. See, that's where you're wrong. Chris, you have a voice. You have a very important voice, and you have to use it. And sometimes that makes people uncomfortable, but so what the hell? Nothing makes you more uncomfortable than get your ass whooped like they've been getting their ass whooped as of late. So it is what it is. No, I don't think we need to call Connell Maynard. As great as he did, and as much respect as I have for him, our program is bigger than that. And I think he's moved on too. There are plenty of folks that played for him that I think would be good candidates. People are under his coaching tree. But I know for sure that there's I think that's over and done with. I mean, all 30,000 people that were at your homecoming game. We don't think we didn't see that slip by. But all right, let's and then also here's another one. Over at Bowie State, another place where you're talking about expectations. Now, Bowie State does not have the long-term success of Winston-Salem State, but they do have recent success, and that also brings its own set of expectations. And their head coach is now, I believe, in his third season as the full-time head coach, and they have not They have not. Bill Hayes is not there anymore. Jason Cove. He has a lot of expectations over there. And right now, those guys are sitting at 1 win. I mean, they're still in the conference with Lincoln, so there's that. But you know,
Where
do you
Clarence
see
at,
it? Are we jumping the gun here?
No, I don't think you're jumping the gun. This question's already been asked, and we've just been saving it for an episode like this. I mean, yeah, it's hard to follow, what Damon Wilson and those guys were able to do. Kyle Jackson got the job. It was his first head coaching job. And, he had some success early on, but then sustaining it becomes the question after that. And it just hadn't worked out from the quarterback carousel that's been going on the last couple seasons to, the defense has just sort of continue to not perform up to expectations. I mean, we're at a point right now where we're talking about Bluefield State plays Bowie. And I don't know if Bowie's really, I don't think that they're the favorite in this game. We kind of joked around earlier with Clarence, and we told him, Elizabeth City is looming. Elizabeth City is coming. And
told him about Fayetteville too.
And, right, we talked about Fayetteville.
We told him about Livingstone.
Yeah, we did talk about Livingstone, and now we're talking about Bluefield State, and it's at home for Bluefield. So I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't be looking to pick them originally, but man, that's a very trendy pick, I think. They at least they got the rushing game, that can help them against Bluefield, but Bluefield's passing game is really strong. I mean, they have an identity. So, gosh. Yeah, it's probably time. I mean, you got Nemo Washington over the offensive coordinator, Bowie alum, played quarterback in the mid 2010s out there, and Sewell, out there, all these alums, that have had coaching success too in different roles. I mean, it's cold world, but hey, you're not producing. It's just time.
Oh, Cove and the Fayetteville folks are really happy now. All their old enemies are down at the dumps.
Yeah, boy, they are having a celebration right now. Holy, dancing on our graves,
just so they can get the Durham and go back and have a shorter ride home back. All right, let's see. Let's see. What else do we have here? Anybody else? Those are the 3 teams that I'm thinking about because those are teams with expectations. But I'm trying to wrap my head around anybody else. Lincoln. What are you gonna do with Lincoln? Bluefield State seems treading in the right direction. First year for ECSU. First year head coach over at Shaw. Livingstone. Sean Gilbert has, turned them into a respected program. So I think he's good. Obviously down there on Beatty's Ford Road, they're feeling good right now. So yeah, VSU is an interesting one. I'd be really interested to see what happened there.
I just want to mention though, like, so when you talk about CIAA coaches, like the ones at the top of the conference right now, when you talk about Coach Parker and VUU and JCSU, like they're at their alma maters. So that's not going to be an easy, that's not going to be easy to take them out of that role to go to Division I per se, just because of that piece of it alone. I mean, it's not impossible, but Coach Fraser certainly would be an interesting choice. See what he might be interested in doing. He seems very happy at VSU. So yeah, I mean, there could be some stability in the conference for some time with the way the coaches are set up right now.
Yeah, well, stability is probably getting a problem for some folks. When you talk about the you talk about alumni, and they're also offensive-minded coaches. So we see what the recipe is working right now. I got my own ideas. We'll talk about that another time over in Winston. But, there is a blueprint for the type of coaches who are having success now in the CIAA. And I think you nailed a big part of that, because a big part of this is having somebody that people can get behind. And, obviously wins matter. When we have somebody they can get behind and they can donate to a program, and resources matter more now than ever. That's why we're seeing teams that have never really won before doing the winning, because they've got the resources, they put it together with capable people. So there's a lot that's going to be interesting this year in the CIAA and beyond. All right, let us take our look forward now to potential BTAs. And we'll start off with VUU against Lincoln, which is always the potential for BTA. And there could be a horror film shot at historic Hovey Field. All right, let's
wait. We can't just roll past that. I mean, I feel like Kobe need to hit the music on this one, because I just need to say this. Like, it's homecoming. It's not just Lincoln at VUU. It's the fact that it's homecoming. I want to know from the ground, like, how many points do you think VUU is going to score in this game? We've seen how they going for 70. We've seen how they go for 91. How many points do you think they're going to score in this game, Steven? Because we already know how this works.
I would guess. I would say over under 81. I would say over 81.
It's not unrealistic either.
What are you thinking? Do you think that they might top the 91?
I think they're gonna have enough respect for Lincoln to not go for 91 unless Lincoln does something to piss them off. But I think easily 70. I'm with Jason on this one. 70 is the over under to me in this game. They're probably going to empty the bench. And Lincoln, Hamas Duran, the quarterback, that's been kind of powering that offense, that at least, try to get them in scoring position. He didn't play this past week. So, if they're down to the backups at that position, I'm just really concerned that they can get the ball moving. So, I think 56 too low in this game, unfortunately. It's homecoming. All of them. Yeah.
Literally, Chris, almost as many as they want. It's let's just be honest. Almost as many as they want. And for those who are unfamiliar, if you look at this, look at that. There's Clarence. Declaring a bold battle in the battle of the real BSU. We just if you aren't familiar with the history of Lincoln, and let us take a moment for the fallen.
Spooky.
All right. So let's see. Let's move on to another potential B to A, Chris. And that is one that I have. I don't know. You never really know what what Elizabeth City State team you're going to get. You could get the team that, made Johnson C. Smith fight for it and struggle for it. You also could get the same ECSU team that allowed Fayetteville State to work its kinks out on them and score 51. But do you think this has BTA potential?
No, I don't think so. I think that what we've seen out of their offense in particular is enough to kind of keep them in it. They hung around with Virginia Union for a while. It wasn't until the fourth quarter that they really that the Panthers were able to separate themselves. No, I don't think this is VTA. I think that ECSU's got enough to, kind of keep things going. I think that they're certainly going to have some concerns in pass defense. Rashawn Matthews is, one of the leaders in the country in total offense. Because he could do it with his arm and with his legs.
Well, because he is the offense.
Well, that's true. So, I just think that what they've been able to do, like Jalen Pretlow was another one, that the wide receiver for VSU, that was another standout. He had well over 100 yards of receiving against Bowie. So, I mean, I think that VSU is definitely going to put up some points, but I think that ECSU will not go quietly. They're kind of like what Fort Valley is in the SIAC right now. Like, they're both like 1-5, and they play some really close games. They're right there in it. They just can't close out. And so I mean, I think this will be a lot closer than what people may think.
Okay. Yeah, Clarence, but you're not going to be in Bowie this week, and as we've learned, last year was last year. Period. All right. Let's go. All right. So let's look at some of our games of the week. This one, Tuskegee, Albany State. Two teams going in opposite directions. Albany State's offense is rolling. Tuskegee is trying to wake from the dead. This could turn into a statement win or a coaching coffin nail. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the coffin here. I mean, and something like this, I mean, Albany's, again, they're not full strength. They got a more than capable defense to slow down Tuskegee. Golden Rams, should be able to get it done with what they have in the stockpiles to keep pace in the SIAC. Remember, Albany has one loss, but that was the FAMU, so that don't count for conference play. It don't count for Division II playoffs. So as easy as there's a lot of focus on Benedict, who is undefeated. Albany really deserves that same level of respect right now. So, I think that Tuskegee, the injuries have just piled up too much. That, I mean, they're going to be a bit overmatched in this game.
Speaking of Benedict at Edward Waters. Edward Waters fell off the horse last week, and Benedict is looking really good, still undefeated. Your thoughts on this game, Chris?
Well, anytime you're facing a really good defense, like really strong defense, a really strong defensive line, and linebacker core, that's a recipe for drawing penalties if you can't keep up. And we've already seen how that plays out with Edward Waters. Edward Waters had the cookie fund that Alvin Parker put in for VU. Somebody will gain 20 pounds. And so, I just think that, Benedict, their offense is, but the defense, I think, is going to be enough to keep Edward Waters out of the end zone enough that they could take this game.
All right, we shall see. Clarence, we told you this a couple weeks ago when you kept picking them week after week after week. Yeah, they're not that great, but now you see the light, brother.
Elizabeth City's coming for you. We told you already.
All right, so let's keep it moving. Let's see. So, all right, over in the CIAA, Johnson C. Smith at Shaw. JCSU controls its own destiny, but beware, Raleigh has become a house of horrors for visiting favorites. And it nearly knocked them off last year on Beatty's Ford Road. I believe it was during their homecoming. And, we've seen Johnson C. Smith play down to his competition against Elizabeth City State. Any chance here, Chris, or you think the Bulls are rolling now?
Well, I think that, Shaw is definitely going to make them sweat. I mean, we've seen what they've been able to do. The running game is going to face a much stiffer test this week. So it's really going to be up to can Marsh deliver the ball to, Tyreek Hardison or, some of those other wide receivers that he has. And on defense, man, the Shaw defense got to go up not just against Kelvin Durham, but to me, the X factor is Bobby Smith, also a freshman running back who sort of taking the reins in the backfield. And JCSU has their own plethora of wide receivers, not counting, Brevin Caldwell only played one game. So, I mean, they've relied on, Brian Lane and Biggie Proctor and all those guys. They got a lot of choices to choose from. To me, JCSU's real issue is being consistent. They have tendencies to stall out, and if they're consistent enough and get ahead early and put some pressure on Shaw to try to keep up, then it'll be a long day for the Bears. But if they allow Shaw to linger, we kind of seen how that looks. But I think that JCSU will win this game.
Yeah, I feel you there. That's interesting. You would never say you were happy to see WSSU recover. You want us to stay down.
Never that.
Never. Right. Speaking of the Rams, it's homecoming. Chris, I'll be there. You'll be there as well. Last week, Chris, it was the reverse. You were pretty confident about the Rams, and I was a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it! Why am I wrong? Why am I right when I say when I'm like I'm nervous? But they're playing against Livingstone. Kenyon Gardner could cause nightmares for WSSU's offense. Your thoughts on this game, Chris? At one point, Winston-Salem State had won this game, I think, from '99 all the way until 2021. And since then, it's been 2-1 the last couple of years. Yeah. So it's homecoming. What's going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, the way that Kenyon Gardner, almost he had an arm tackle on Damari Daniels last week, and the way he just slung him to the ground, man, I was like, man, that dude almost took that dude's head off. I mean, he's a beast on that line. And then, David Jones, the big defensive tackle as well. Winston won't be able to run, I don't think, very much in this game, and they're going to have to go to the air, and it'll be interesting to see if Devontae Deloach can go. He who formerly played at Livingstone before transferring to Winston-Salem State, he didn't really play much in the last two games, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, Winston's, they really make their hay in the air, and you would think that they're going to get up for a homecoming crowd, but no, we know, Clarence, we can't. You couldn't run on Livingstone either. We can't run on Livingstone. No, I don't see it happening. We can't run on nobody. Hell, we could barely stay on the field, on offense. So I just think that, if Winston gonna win this game, they're gonna have to do it through the air and attack them through the air. Or Dalen Lee's gonna have to do a lot more running. And use running backs as a decoy. I'm not concerned about Livingstone's offense. I think that they can, if they keep this game low scoring, they'll be in it, and I think that they can do it. But man, I don't know, Steven. I feel like I'm drinking your elixir right now because I'm the one again that is just I just feel like Winston gonna pull it out, but it's not gonna be. It's never easy with Winston State. And I feel like that's going to happen here, but I think they're going to win homecoming. I just don't see them going out there sad. I feel like if they don't win homecoming, we just need to be coaches for the rest of the year or something. Forget it. What's the point? What is the point? Because then you still got to play JCSU. You still got to play Fayetteville State. What is the point? Over, under on Winston-Salem State having the ball for 20 to 25 minutes. I'm taking the under. Because, and the reason why I say that is because I just think that Winston is a bit of a quick strike team when they're really working. They can, they can get the ball down the field 50 yards and easily when they're on. When the wide receivers don't have a case of the dropsies. So, I just think that I think that they're not going to let the crowd down at home. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. Look, man, I'm just gonna have to stay up. I don't know, man. I feel like I might just need to kick it at the gravel lot this year, man.
I mean, I get it, but
seriously. I think this is. I just, I remember the Livingstone game 2 years ago when they bled WSSU dry, death by 1,000 cuts. I think this coaching staff has. Coach Massey said the other week that he felt like they gave folks the blueprint to beat Virginia Union. But I think it was the other way around. They definitely gave folks the blueprint to beat WSSU because you saw what Shaw did last week. I think Livingstone is going to try to do the same thing this week. Just make it ugly, nasty, dirty, funky, fake punts. Expect more going for it on fourth down, all of that. And,
you just reminded me of something. You just reminded me of something when you said that. I remember, Livingstone is one of those teams that I enjoy watching them play because, they will play in a style that just be they just don't care. They're just that gutsy. I remember the time where Livingstone was so disrespectful that they went for it on fourth down. And I think they were inside the 30. Yeah. And they were so disrespectful. And they got it, right? And that's exactly what Shaw did. Shaw went for it on their own 34, converted it. Virginia State tried the same thing as Bowie late in the game, and fourth, it was ironically on the VSU 34. They didn't convert it. Shaw did the same thing on the Winston 34, converted it. So it's just teams, they definitely don't fear Winston. I mean, that's been like that for some time. But, I mean, the defense, man, the defense has to step up in the run game. I mean, they just got to. Yeah, Livingstone, they're fighting for their conference championship lives. So they got a lot to play for in this. They're trying to keep pace with, Fayetteville State's 4-0, 4 straight wins in conference. VUU, 3 wins, no losses in conference. And then you got these teams. Shaw, I think, got only 1 loss in conference. Bluefield only got 1 loss in conference. I mean, they're trying to keep up. So, yeah, it's a very pivotal game for them. Fayetteville State is off this week. They get to just sit back and chill for a little bit. And JCSU got to avoid getting back into the polls and not falling out again.
Don't fall in the bear trap.
Yeah, don't fall in the bear trap against the plain old Bears because they're sneaky. So, yeah, 4th and goal, 4th and 16 from the Winston 28. In from the jaws of defeat.
Awful. Clarence, you didn't tell us nothing that we don't know. Let's be honest. Let's be real. You didn't tell us anything that we don't know. No, what you did tell us is that y'all were going to go 8-2. And you've already almost tripled that loss total. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. Look, it's been fun. Let's go. It's been fun. Well, sort of, kind of fun in a painful kind of way. But hey, you know what?
Yeah.
It's spooky season, so enjoy yourselves. Nobody was buying that, man. Please.
I was buying the hype, though. I was buying the hype. I was buying the hype. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest with you. I had them ranked 3rd in my preseason picks. The coaches poll had them 5th, I think. And so, and that seems to be too high now. So, we just middle of the road. Winston's on the road. But guess what? Guess who's not at the bottom or close to the bottom? Winston's not close to the bottom. That's Bowie trying to figure out a way to stay out of the basement. You know, I'm just saying. You know, Morehouse got more wins right now. They streaking. But what about Bowie though? You know, just saying. And again, ECSU's coming. Bluefield's already up to 3 wins. That's amazing. That's honest.
I would not be a bulldog, a bronco, a bear, a panther, a Trojan. I tell you the reason why.
Why?
A ram all my life, and I'ma be a ram till I die. Whoa. So hard to be a ram. So hard to be a ram. So hard to be RAMS. Woo! All right, y'all. Happy homecoming for everybody who is having homecoming. I think it's homecoming at Virginia Union and a couple other places as well. Y'all be happy, be safe, and enjoy yourself. And we will see you guys in the next one. Appreciate everybody for rocking with us. And we'll catch you guys later. Peace.